Divine Mother Earth time! Woohoo! Hello, everybody. Welcome to Divine Mother Earth time. I'm your co-host, Laura Eisenhower.
And I'm your other co-host, Marisa Acocella. And today we have an especially awesome guest, our friend Sean Bond. Thanks for coming, Sean.
Thank you so much for having me. Honored. Yeah, this will be a great, expansive, heart-opening show, I'm sure, with you guys.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, let's get this done.
So Sean, I'm going to read a little bit about you, okay? Sean Bond, that's you, is skilled at accessing the user manual for DNA technology of the body to track issues back to the point of origin in order to resolve any problem happening to the body or may be accessed by organic spiritual technology within each individual. He assists in creating operating systems to help individuals manifest dormant abilities that unlock their psychic potential and upgrade the body's energy systems. Sean is the founder of PsionicLeague and SilverCordspiritualscience. He is a spiritual healer who aids others in holistic healing and spiritual growth. I'm just going to list some of your abilities: past life reading, DNA reading, past life regression, Akashic record reading, licensed massage therapy, pain release, trigger point therapy, myofascia release, chakra balancing, Reiki master healing, entity removal, and more. Welcome, Sean.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's an honor, and been looking forward to talking with you guys more.
Yeah, I've known you for quite a number of years, and I remember significantly when I first met you in Florida. I had met you before, I think, at a different event, but I was always so amazed by your energy, by your heart, by your intelligence, and we both have worked with you. We're not going to go into that in this interview, but I just want everybody to know a bit about you, your journey, and how you began to consolidate all these different tools and modalities. What was it like for you as a kid with these kind of abilities, and just a little bit about how you got to where you are now?
Sure. Yeah, I was born, surrounded by muggles, so I couldn't bounce off of anyone, so I had to eventually start keeping it to myself because they would just shut down the conversation or move the topic, or kind of dismiss you or call it a dream or visions and the visitations. I'd have a lot
What
of.
are muggles, by the way?
It's like Harry Potter's term for normal people. It's just,
Okay.
people trapped in the Matrix, and then, yeah, I had a lot of experiences, visions, dreams that last a long time and then come back, visitations by ETs, extra-dimensional witches. I had a extra-dimensional witch visit me over and over again in dreams in this crazy, like, spatial dimension thing that opened up in like a pathway in my backyard as a kid that would go like into a trail into a little town, and it doesn't exist anymore. And I'm like, what? And I still have dreams about it. It's so vivid. Anyway, visited by ETs a bunch, and attacked by demons, visited by angels called archangels in. They helped. I tried different things for different negative experiences and saw what worked. Calling Jesus worked. Prime Creator, lovely. I love them. The source of all. And had to overcome a lot of challenges of overwhelm, of torturous pain, and then that taught me how to release pain from a distance, which I got well known for. Overwhelming negative emotions, learned and mastered each one of those, and then turned them into the fertilizer for the Garden of Happiness. And then got chronic fatigue syndrome, couldn't get out of bed for a long time, and then got pissed off about it, and then had to learn it myself because nothing the medical establishment would give you works. So then figure out how it works, and then like drain and yin emotions and fatigue energy and all that, and then Now I have infinite energy and work out every day. It's awesome. And then I problem solve with everything coming at me, and then everything that comes at you makes you stronger. Been through crazy experiences that it overwhelms me to talk about, so, both positive and negative. And something's trying to kill me. You guys know with the target individual stuff. And shut down your heart and stuff. So had to counter that and become immune to it, and then learn how to heal people with illness and people that were told by their doctor they wouldn't make it through the night. Got them out of the hospital on their feet walking. And I like challenges. Become immune to it all and then grow and get to transcend all the suffering in this world. It's a beautiful game, and I fall in love with it more every day.
Wow.
Wow.
How about you
That's
guys?
awesome. You're a major spirit warrior.
Yeah, you certainly are. I mean, the thing that I really like, well, I like a lot about you, Sean,
Oh, you too. Thank you too.
because you're a pal and I think you're awesome. The thing that one of the things I like most about you, Sean, is the fact that you have this ability to transmute energy, and the way you do it is with love. So you want to talk about what your process is? Because you were,
Sure.
before we started talking, you said that, there was a lot of demons or something during the holidays, and we could fight it, with love and ascension. You want to talk about that? How do we transmute what's going on right now with this energy, like the good versus evil thing? And, how do we transmute that with love? And by the way, I swear to God, every time I talk to you, I look at you and I'm like, you're working at Jesus vibe right now. Just had to say that.
No, that's sweet of you. I appreciate that. Okay, so yeah, transmutation, fun. Everyone can learn it. One of my favorite abilities. It works to so many degrees. It's mainly an emotional based process with the emotional body, which centers in the sacral. So the gut brain, a little bit below the belly button, is the center point of the control panel for it. And making it clear and pure for any technology makes it the best efficiency. And then it generates, making the generators of the body, making them feel safer. They generate more units per second, and then you can build a system of many different types. Many people have made different systems for transmutation, as well as other operating systems for different abilities. I love it. It's beautiful. All these different mental and neurolinguistic processes of creating switches and knobs and visions and vision questing and creations. Mine is, I like to make them simple, and then you can build off them. So you take your higher self. It's like a giant ghost aspect of yourself that does chess moves around the planet, remembers your past lives, all this, and expands and grows as you grow. And your rudimentary magic, you can just like snap your fingers. Hey, higher self, can you get on this? And it does things. And then you can give it energy or work out, sing, dance, listen to music, meditate, breath work, yoga, run, anything you love to do, and amplify that energy towards that intention, and then monitor to get done. See your higher self hugging so the heart field processes emotions in sense in the toroidal field. So you will feel a big heaviness on your heart that will represent layers of different emotions that we store away as trapped emotions in little compartments to take care of later. As they each mean stuff, they may not be flowing correctly or going where they need to go or turn into what they want to be, or they may be dumped on you by the environment. Let's say maybe there's some dark sorcerers or politicians that are getting rid of their negative consequence punishment emotions from doing evil, and doing deals with demons with the cremation care kind of rituals to get it off them, or they're being possessed and the demon's doing it by itself, and putting them onto positive light people that don't deserve it. Either way, those aren't transmutable, but you can do the same process for a non-transmutable.
Wait, they are or are they not transmutable, did you say?
Most energies people will be dealing with are transmutable, but if you're
Okay.
highly targeted and you're doing a lot of work, you'll probably get dumped on by negative forces that track back to like Washington, D.C. or Hollywood or some other government agency that has
I said Hollywood's a government agency. So
Yeah.
true.
And if it's being dumped on you, it doesn't usually want to be transmuted because it wants a purpose of kind of Pavlov's dog punishment, suffering to relief for people that are doing evil so that they learn to do good. So the goal is to get it off you back, like get rid of the blocks to where it wants to go, and it magnetically pulls back to the person it originally generated from. You can do all this in a simple method. So transmute, see your higher self, hug around the big ball of emotion. The emotion is usually stored in the organ or the ego, depending on where you store it or how it got in. And the ego likes to protect ourselves from external attachments, from going deeper to the soul. It quarantines those things coming at you. So you can have the higher self hug around the ego, which is the lower self. Fill it with love. Love contains all the nourishment, nurturingness, and ability of all the systems that it needs to transform it into what it wants to become. And so you hug around it like a big ball, seeing it get brighter at the center, and it will slowly start to shrink and get lighter and lighter on the heart, like a big ball shrinking. And then when you feel it get lighter and lighter and more bliss, then you were successful. And then you can do more and more layers at a time. And you're essentially, it's releasing like a steam valve and then turning into what it wants to become. And the more you have to process, the more it turns into cool things. It usually starts with the opposite. It turns into like fear into bravery, or pain into healing, or sadness into resilient happiness, or anger into power, etc., etc. But as you gain more of it, you can turn into more things. So sadness can be turned it's going to start with the sacral stuff, like so positive emotions, sensual, tech, sexual, the emotional body, dreaming, creative force. And then it will go up to the rest of the chakras if you have to deal with more sadness. I've had to deal with a lot and healing people with suicide programs, and I've also been through that. Anger usually starts in the solar plexus, and it's when it's a power being granted you to overcome a threat. So if it gets, it's being compressed by some force. And so if you bust out the prison and flow the plumbing to where it needs to go, it feels really nice, and combine it with love, and it gets shit done in the external. It's like, as well as in your body, it gives you a lot of fuel. Then you go out to other types of emotions, as well as things that are hard to translate, which will be probably different types of energy that I'll go into, such as the most people are going to be dealing with is shadow energy, which is like in Carl Jung's box of self-defeating programs. It centers in the root chakra. This is the shadow, and your goal is to transmute the self-defeating self to the self-supporting self, and master that type of shadow energy. And then you can transmute it into the opposite by doing that. And it's like collapsing around it, giving it love, cutting it off from all sources of power, like draining. It's like cutting off a parasite and letting it starve. And then it acts right by giving it love and purification, and it shrinks down. The next other energy people are going to be dealing with is ego and evil and darkness and some other like chaos. And if they're really targeted, they could be sent like pain, destruction, and death things. I've been if they really don't want you here. So either way, if it's in this, the more volatile it is, you want to use loving detachment, like pulsing from the heartbeat, like have faith that it's coming off your heart, and surround it with like a blanket, like it's a baby, coddling it, or a spider wrapping silk around its prey kind of thing. But like you treat it with love, because it's consciousness, all energy, and it goes back to a source of that same consciousness. And you're getting, with each of these events, you're getting it to like you. And then you get it to where it doesn't want to harm you. And then you can collapse it down into a portal held by your source, put in a little pocket dimension, and give it healing, clearing, and love, and then get it to like you and like, hey, I'm sorry, that asshole was abusing you. The evil steals abilities. They never earned it, so they stole it from something. They're abusing that energy. And then give it like death energy, for instance, if they're trying to kill you. You give it love and like, I'm sorry that asshole stole you, and then I'm going to be a much better caretaker. And then you can, it will work for you, and then it will turn into like self-defense against death and immunity to death. and then you make a defense mechanism, you build up, and then you get more authority and you gain management tech, and then you can
Sean,
distribute these energies.
Sean, I feel like there's so much here, right? So let's break it down
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
by piece by piece. What do you
Simple.
think, Laura?
Yes, and let's do that. And then I'd love to know in your mind, how far along are we as a humanity in
Hmm.
being free of this really strong grip it's had as a collective? But yes, break it down. Maybe.
Like step by step by
Yeah, yeah,
step.
sure.
And yeah.
So do it with
So,
me right here. So just,
okay.
you can even do it while not. You can just imagine your higher self hugging this big ball of heaviness in the heart, giving it
So
love.
first you have the heaviness in the heart. Then you recognize the heaviness. Then you have your higher self.
Yeah, yeah. Just give it size and scale. It's going to be compressed in the body, but I like measuring things in atmospheric pressure if it was a lot outside the body. So that you might be dealing with a ball of sadness the size of the universe or something. So you hug around it, fill with love, see the center getting brighter, and you just keep like hugging it. You don't force it to shrink. It's like finding the sweet spot while you center in the center of your heart and the center of this big ball, and it starts to just want to collapse. It's like wanting to go within, and it gets faster and faster and stronger and stronger. It's like embracing a child that you haven't seen in a while, kind of thing.
Hmm.
And it's like falling in love with its core. And if you can fall in love with and uh, reach the heart of any type of energy or being, then it will stop harming you, and it will collapse, and you'll feel a bunch of bliss coming out. And you can have faith that it's automatic, your higher self is automatically turning into things that support you and become immune to that stuff harming you. If they're going to send more of that, they have to send a lot more of it and at a higher level. And
So
when
it's
it's
a
not,
heart to heart connection then, basically.
yeah.
Okay.
And you're going to be I'd recommend turning into it's going to turn into opposite immunity and support to resolve that type of emotion so that it doesn't harm you. It's like nothing, and you can hold it up, and then eventually you become like a manager for the planet in that emotion
Hmm.
and get it off people that don't deserve it, back onto the people that it was originally created for, etc. If it's not transmutable, same process, just hug, collapse it, and at the center is a portal held by your source. And just have faith that it's collapsing and then it's going to where it needs to go. And then
So
hope,
that portal will send it to where it needs to go. You said at the heart, the portal, and it'll send it back.
yeah, yeah. And there's like a
Okay.
conveyor belt of the systems, which is sending it to a pocket dimension, clearing it, healing it, getting the energy to like you, putting sticky sealing on it, getting rid of the blocks to where it needs to go, like if it's like an evil politician or dark sorcerer, and getting rid of the demon that's pushing it off and back to their soul. And then in a way that doesn't overwhelm them unnecessarily because it's trying to bring them to a lesson to stop being evil.
Mm-hmm.
So it
So
releases it lessons on them when they do good, it ups if they are doing bad.
the individual, you mean?
Yeah,
Am I
yeah, the dark person.
right? So how much does this play into counteracting the SRA and the deeper layers of the, cabal activity,
Mhm.
the trafficking, the pedophilia, the adrenochrome? I mean, isn't doing this work what is bringing it to the surface? Almost like the immune system of the consciousness of the planet that's, eradicating this because of this kind of work, would you say?
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, if you track back some of the emotions being dumped on like you guys, for instance, I'd say like 50% around emotions are not transmutable. They're not from you. They're going back to like Washington, D.C., and they're going to a bunch of dark sorcerers abusing people and rituals, and sometimes, the um, what's a friendly word for, essay and sometimes killing. And then they're also trying to dump their negative emotion onto the victim, and get rid of their things that they're dealing with in punishment. So it compresses back onto them, which gets them to stop doing what they're doing, especially if it's well timed. Which you don't have to send it back at the exact time that you're getting rid of it. You can send it at the exact time they're doing a negative thing. So they're like, oh crap, I need to stop doing this.
How
And
do they
then,
feel it though when you're doing that? How do you?
oh, thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. That's a good point. Some of these people are psychopaths, right? So they don't feel much. They might have a low bandwidth of emotion. You can turn things like sadness into an emotional body, empathy for psychopaths. That's one of the big things it wants to turn into first, is they have to be sensitive to it to respond to it. So sorry, didn't mean to miss that part.
So, but wait, so when you're sending that back to them, and if they're psychopaths, how are they going to feel it though? How's that going to stop them?
If like
Like ending the vampire to the host relationship. Sorry, go ahead.
around 1 million to 1 trillion units of sadness energy, for example, or different types of suffering can all come together and be turned into an emotional body amplifier of empathy that can be given and applied to a psychopath. So then they feel more sensitively. And this is one of my favorite abilities because it makes people less evil in the world. And there's various layers to what a psychopath is in blocked off numbness and overwhelm or fracturedness of their emotional body and parts of their brain, so they don't perceive the negative emotions as much. Usually I do perceiving anger and thrill, but they're usually not perceiving like the negative punishment emotions, which is annoying. So you bring it to them by turning that. They will still generate it, but they won't feel it. So then the demons get those generations and put it onto other people. So all the higher selves of every one of the victims, you can get them all to unite and then all push the negative emotion back into a ball around the person and then form it into their emotional body and up the sensitivity first. And then they get bombarded with their naturally generating punishment.
So the punishment would be like a correction or a reconnection, because I mean, it seems it's all rooted in trauma and like almost like revenge, and then they got the demonic attachments. It's would you say? And then when they're able to, feel more, there's a conscience that sort of like when we feel bad about things that we might have done, we can punish ourselves by raising the bar and begin our healing process. But the punishment is more like a correction. I mean, it seems like what you're saying is their incapacity to feel makes like one a psychopath. Like they have no ability to realize what they're doing because they've been so traumatized, would you say is the root of it? And they've been so taught to reject God because that's what the programming and trauma-based mind control has done? Or how do you feel like?
Well said. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of abuse is like a cycle of abuse passed down from arbitrator to victim, and then the anchor is of the wounding event. Usually I see a bunch of demons around the person that continues the trauma, pushing them to do it, and then they use the trauma to fracture the soul or parts of the energy body, take those parts, and then use them as a like remote control from a distance, and they'll dump negative energy onto them from a distance while stealing their happiness and other things. And then they'll haunt the person and influence them to then continue that trauma. So we can become, every one of the victims can then become a trap of their healing purification to then take down that big dark tower of abuse and end the cycle and then stop a bunch of abuse from happening in the future. It's like, it's a process of going inward and a big burst of healing that goes with like the steps are broken down as acceptance is the key to getting to the core of anything. Yourself, the parts coming back, and even the abuser, because everything is ultimately you as a branching tree, and you're healing the corrosive, cancerous tree branches and purifying them. not a lot of this is not like the next one is forgiveness, which you're not doing it for them, you're doing it for yourself, but you are everything. So ultimately, so you're rising above their even ability to attach to you or have power over you by like overcoming that. And then it's like the opposite of grudge, which Buddha said it's like having a grudge is holding a hot coal, expecting it to hurt the other person. And it's keeping, so rising above their power over you, then releasing blocks of the chakras, fear, shame, guilt, judgment, letting go of blame, which is nothing to blame if you're everything, then going to wholeness, oneness. Which you're then getting all the parts back, and for them, they're fractured. They got their stuff stolen. Demons are fractured beings. They're puppeted by something else that wounded them. And then healing, oneness, empathy, care, unconditional love, and then centering into the source of all oneness as if you're in everything and you're rising above the threat, then condensing it down, shrinking it down with love, and then making it collapse and go away. And then that's a method for anyone that's an abuse victim that works real. Just do it slowly, each one of those steps until you feel it like with confidence has been done through the force entanglement that whatever abuse has happened to them. And they take down that dark empire. They gain a bunch of defense and offense stuff from it. All those demons would like go to quarantine realms and get moral code, healing, wholeness, and then they end up being a force that then goes against the dark and has a bunch of keys to the skeleton closet, which is what a lot of people when they come to planets to heal them, and they're overrun with demons, is the opportunity. You can a lot of people, like let's say Jesus, for instance, he went around creating an army of impoverished poor people that were broken, and he healed a bunch of people, and they all became supporters, and it made a big movement. That so like all these demons have a story, why they became evil, why they need to steal, all that stuff, and they got there's methods to learn how to heal them, and then they become a force for good when they're fully healed. And then they all push back the worser evils, and it condenses evil and back to its origin and the source of evil, to where the source of good is able to use the reason the source of evil came into existence as a challenge that strength trains light, goodness, healing, and everything that we can generate ourselves in unity.
So amazing. Beautifully
Yeah,
put.
so it is. So the thing is, you're using love to shrink everything down, basically. So it's all like you keep using this motion, which is boom, 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 shrinking everything with love.
Yeah, size and scale. Evil is not infinite. It is a finite amount. Even if it's a big amount, you can get above it, give it size and scale of the problem, have faith in your support, your soul family, your higher self, your source, and earth and all the systems, and amplify faith, love, gratitude. And you don't even have to know everything about it. And you give it what it needs, and the heaviness shrinks down and it disperses into light and everything within it that you feel. And this is a very simple operating system that works on most things. Well,
I like that you said that evil is not infinite, but love. But love, as we know, is.
oh yeah, spreading unity, constantly growing, making more of itself. It's one of the oldest energies that exists, the connection between all things.
It is the oldest energy, let's face it.
So when we see some of these people out there in political positions or in Hollywood, these government agencies that are linked to a bigger sort of interplanetary corporate conglomerate or MIC, military industrial complex, deep state kind of inverted system type deal. What are your thoughts when you see like news about Diddy or do you feel a lot of people are either going to flee or some are going to come to terms with how they might have been blackmailed or how they might have sold out that will be seeking redemption and healing? Do you feel most people are going to flee, or do you think we're going to see more transparency, so that, some that might have just been clinging to the dark side out of fear of retribution or murder, even, or having something held against them, be released to the public? What are your thoughts when you see just what's playing out on the world stage? Do you see more rehabilitation and healing, or more like, oh man, they're running scared, or a little bit of both, probably, right? I don't know. What are your thoughts, though, on what you're seeing in the world, I guess, is my long-winded question.
That's a great one.
Great questions. Yeah.
It's a great
Love
question.
it. I can tell by your the way you did it that you already know the answer. But and also that you're monitoring the future and the potentials and making an influence on it, which is exactly what would happen. The future is not set in stone. It's a chess game for everyone involved in it, observing it in the experiment, to figure out how the wave field collapses based on how much energy input and influence they have into it. Every individual on the chessboard has a war going on inside them, light and dark. At any moment in time, depending on the individuals that also play out in it, can push towards light or dark, such as people surrender. It's a kind of a word where they're giving up, and they're like, hey, I have all these things that I can offer you. Don't hurt me. A lot of people will be doing that. Some will be fleeing. Some will, even if they flee, they can get extradited. There will still be needed pawns on the chessboard, which, depending on the layers of blackmail and bribing, and like the people that will stay, the people that don't really serve a purpose as a strong chess move are more likely to flee, especially if they have fears of things. Even so as you are a great influencer on this chessboard, you write up what you want to happen for each individual in there, as if you were them in their chess game of war, or and narrow down the options of the most positive effect. And then you can find the threads to pull to make it so it unravels like that. And you also would find out what the dark would do. So then you narrow it down to, because if the dark wins, then you'll see their chess move. If you and the collective of light wins in that individual, then you'll see some more interesting positive shakeups, like how when they start investigating people, then people start ratting out the higher up levels, and then it will go up higher, which people will be singing for sure, which will be interesting. So I see that as one of the best scenarios, that the more people that start singing and exposing the greater corruption to the top, then we can get to the head of the serpent.
So basically, you're saying, okay, so let's say Diddy, right? You think he's going to start singing now? I mean, we've got people like, Jaguar Wright talking, and Ellie Carter. I mean, she's talking, and although she said she's not taking interviews anymore because some TV network or show in Texas wanted to film her, and it was Oprah, she found out. So you have to be really careful about who you're talking to. But you think it's going to be kind of like a domino effect, and more people will be talking, and then more will be revealed? Do you think that's going to happen?
If the light force puts enough effort into it, yes. Though the dark doesn't want that to happen, so they want to keep the people asleep. They want to main in control of the media, and they want to maintain a death cult system. So I'll give you a hint on how to make the amplified chess move better in each one of these games. So it's mostly a chess game over the soul, which centers in the solar plexus of the stomach area, and mostly going over what's in control of the soul at any given time. If it's the sovereign free will individual of the original soul, or if it's incurring factors or things that claim ownership over the soul. If this, excuse me, some people like Diddy have had their soul fractured into an outrageous number of pieces, let's say over quintillion number at least, and all those parts can be tracked back to different types of apex predators. And so
An
there could
apex
be
predator, Sean. What's that? What's an
a
apex predator?
apex multidimensional predator. So like demons are fractured composite beings. They're like ghosts of any given species, and they are fractured and wounded to the point they can't create light and love, so they have to steal energy from the environment. A lot of them exist in the astral or their dimensional layers, or uh, some will be anchored into bodies. And then it goes up in depending on how old, how many skills they've learned, and if they've been force evolved or something, or like archonic demons or ones from other planets. And then there's a hierarchy of, with every one of those type of demons going up in puppet masters and energy harvesting. And they like to steal parts, energy, authority, soul parts. And then once they have control of them, they have control over people, and they can, because soul has a lot. Soul parts can generate energy, superpowers, memory, authority programming, and it leads to greater awareness. And a lot of these demons don't have their own soul, so they fill the gaps with stolen parts. And so wholeness, which you can generate through cultivating, completing a puzzle piece kind of thing. And all the parts of you are quantum entangled with you through threads, so you can pull them all back and push energy through the threads to explode at the other end in case the thing on the other end doesn't want to let go of it. A bunch of things to free it. And then also create a bunch of healing and love and goodness and light effect back at the demon through the thread, and change it to where you can make a healing antidote for evil and bring it to wholeness. And there would be a chain going back to all the beings that stole from each other, resolving them all and collapsing it, and getting them, if they're whole, they're more sane, they're more good, they aren't in lack, they don't need to do evil things like stealing or theft or harm to others, because they can generate things themselves. And if you create enough love for them and it reaches deep into their heart with acceptance, then it can get to where it makes them feel like, wow, I've never felt that before. Nobody's ever done that to me. And they see, they like you and they don't want to harm you. And then you can start getting all light, neutral, and then the dark and the evil to see you as a net benefit for the world and never really want to harm you anymore, which I recommend with unity, peace, and ending of wars. And then if you find the core, they have an ego motivation, which is like control and power and domination and like get shit done. But they have a core desire, which is why they need it in the first place, which, like, if they want control, they are not in control of themselves. They want power. They don't generate that much power. They're getting like stolen from or something. If they want to steal love, they don't have love. So you meet their core desire and get it to where it becomes an antidote. And you can even send it back in time, and before they became really evil, and then collapse the evil timelines, like the ones that have to do with the abuse and the abduction and things with the SSP and things that don't need to exist, fracturing people into altars, unfortunately. And then make a lot of those timelines collapse and then merge, and the benefits merge to the soul in the now, and making and all the chess moves pulling the timeline, like light is pulling this way and dark's pulling this way, and dark wants the more Illuminati-esque timeline, and the light wants freedom and free energy and beds and all that stuff. And then because the dark stole this authority, tracking back the threads of where they stole that authority to pull the timeline, and also get to the core of their motivation of why they want to, and then meeting those needs with enough generated love from yourself. All this stuff that's in layers entangled with every individual as they grow.
So you're basically saying going back to the origin of where things happen and change the
Yeah.
timeline?
All collapses and dissolves and all this heaviness lifts, and it's really nice. And
Oh,
you
amazing.
reality warped and quantum jumped the whole world.
Speaking about quantum jump, what are your thoughts on our capacity to time travel or do things that they talk about technology being able to do and that they're actively being used? But I mean, you're somebody to me that represents using consciousness and our greater abilities to be able to achieve the same. So can you talk to us about that?
Oh yeah, I love it. It's one of my favorite. Time is one of my favorites. Source of Time and me are really good friends. So anyone can do this. It's a mystery school internally. Time energy generates in the heart first, also space. So you can like amplify the safety and the love by clearing the heart, giving it, holding it front and back focus, making the star of your heart burn brighter, and any attachment and heaviness in the heart, burn it like with a flame of gratitude and love, which spreads the flame and engulfs any heaviness on it and uses it as fuel, and making it stronger and more resilient to any thing coming in to hold it back, which is the heart walls that build up. And those heart walls are the cocoons that are to be challenges so that the butterfly is strong when it busts out of the cocoon and can fly strong. And so there's many psionic cocoons, and we embrace them with love and then get quicker and quicker at breaking through them all and see all these challenges as the thing that makes us stronger. Um, the Mystery School of Time, you'll be going into gaining access to sending healings and energy and support and influence to yourself forward and backward in time. Setting it up so you allow for your future self to send you influences and nudges so that you can get more intuition on what to do. That's the most optimal timeline, as well as sending yourself healings and support and wholeness and protection back in time so there's less bad things happen, closing back doors. And then you get more support to be able to send that to past lives bleeding over through the heart and making it so that negative traits and situations go away and disperse, and you can take back control of yourself to full free will, and influence and what you want to do this life without impediments. Then like getting more training into the vision and flashback, and it's like an empathy combined with clairvoyance, audience, one sense as you open it up in meditation and your heart expands and you clear the emotions that so the emotional body is clear so it can receive more and translate in knowledge comes in and truth. And then it goes into translating with your whatever guide you have for the time mystery school, which you go down like a hallway of doors in your mind for the nexus of the mystery school. Like show me all the doors having to do with time and time abilities, and then we go through those, and then the golden door shows up the most advantageous thing to go into, and then you go down and vision and see what appears, and it has all these things in the school show up, and it starts teaching you, and then you create what you do in choice point for what you see, and it builds. Then you gain access to alternate timelines of yourself. Like when I first started, they wanted me, okay, train your ability to influence. So like, oh, what did I influence? Oh, influence timelines in need. So besides the past lives, and which aren't always set in stone, a lot of them you can change, and especially when a timeline or a point in time is more separate from you. In
Wait,
like,
so you could change a past timeline? Is that what you're saying?
oh yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah. You can like if there's a really big wound and it doesn't serve anything, if you put enough energy, you can collapse that wound and it goes away, and you change the timeline. Like, oh, it's like in the Crusades, like, oh, you're a witch, and you like you turned right and you got captured and then burned alive. Oh, well, let's send influence back in time, and like, oh no, turn right, and then yeah, you miss it all.
But then you don't get burned alive.
Yeah,
Is that what? Okay, so you could
exactly.
avoid like a really horrible. Yeah. Okay.
Right, right. And then so alternate timelines that had me going through like catastrophes like nuclear fallouts, wars, zombie apocalypses and stuff. Influence it so all the zombie apocalypses, you instead of those three where you died on, go back in time right before you died and make it so that you make all the right decisions so you don't die, and then you have a presence, and then you influence them to be more successful. And it would train me how to make it so that I could influence versions of myself. Then you get more encompassment of territory. You can do that for other people as you're getting trusted and moral code. Then you get more access to more abilities. And it goes to some cool temporal abilities, such as getting rid of whole things that don't need to exist back in time that affect a lot of people. Big wounds, like in the fall of Atlantis, big rips in space time, things that once those negative timelines collapse, then the timeline is way better and it frees up. It's more likely to go positive direction. I do this all the time, and you can do this also with abductions as well. If an ET tries to abduct you, like a Draco or something, back in the timeline, like let's say age 9 or something, and it's you can figure out, oh, it's how did it find out about you? Dracos are kind of stupid. They they usually steal technology from other races, and they use them to monitor rare energies that are emitted on the planet, and then they track them and they find that person that's emitting a rare energy. So you can go back in time, put enough camouflage around you and bubbles coming off the heart. You can trust fall in your heart in meditation and program. So rudimentary magic form, which is geometry, bubbles, programming, camouflage with each bubble more and more. And the third step is charging it up with power. So with meditation, you can faith, trust, fall in your heart while amplifying camouflage. The more you do with a certain amount of time and send that back in time, you can you can send it before they become aware of you and prevent them from abducting you. And those timelines collapse, especially the ones that are negative and don't need to exist.
Don, I just want to okay, first step is recognizing that something needs to be changed. Second step, just give us the steps so we have them down, especially camouflaging. Like first step is what?
Okay, give me a problem, and it could be a real one if you want.
Okay, let's say I was abducted at age 6. What do I need to do?
Okay, you want me to? I'm going to resolve one for both of you. Is that okay?
Yeah, Laura, is that all right?
Oh, yeah.
You want to do that?
Trauma or an imprint in our lives?
Yeah, let's say a negative abduction and why you're targeted strongly.
Okay.
And
Are we doing real ones that we know of for sure? Because
yeah.
Okay, we'll start with her and then yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll go with like one you're targeted the most in. Let's see. And I'll omit anything that's not meant for public. Okay. Okay, one. Cool. Okay. Ooh. More recent. Interesting. You're emitting a rare new energy. Interesting. Okay. About a week ago. Okay. Interesting. And what is it? It's in your crown. Cool. Is the ability that you're emitting? Let's see. Yeah. Okay, translate it. Ooh. Okay, you're emitting infinite stream of knowledge. You have made it safe enough for that to turn on. That's positive. So like powerful knowledge coming in with what you're focused on through your crown. And the more safe you get your head to feel, the more powerful that will generate. That seems to have tipped something off. The species, yep, ET. Datas in the local area of Florida. It's a negative faction. This exposed a base of Zetas it's kind of like southern Florida towards the west. It seems to have base interaction going into the water. Let's see how they work. Yeah, these ones are from the future. I see a lot of that. Negative timeline future. which I'll show you a nice little collapse of the timeline thing. So they're anchored to a civilization aspect of humanity. But so a lot of the Zeta is offshoot from humanity and hybridization with our timeline, and have messed up their timeline to where they can't breed, and their cloning technology is breaking down. So they end up coming back in time and adding their genetics to us to save their lineage, as a lot of beings want to keep reincarnating in them, and they anchor in base, and they try to make it so they maintain their timeline too into the future in this timeline. So they're kind of going deep into the future. They have an anchor in the moment, which is the base in Florida. And man, there's like a hairball of going back and forth. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, so you can put enough camouflage on your ability so they don't abduct you, which needs to be the size of the galaxy, which will take 12 minutes of meditation or focus on just emitting that from your heart. Okay, one. And oh, here's another. So there's the time, those are negative timelines. So we can have our higher selves unite with all the victims of their faction and those negative timeline branches that are different from a normal center point goal of what Earth wants in goal timeline. And all the victims that are suffering generate big balls of emotion of having to do with their suffering. So we unite with the collective of their higher selves, get all those balls of negative emotion, collapse them back into the past on the individuals at that base, and get them to stop doing evil. And especially if because there's going to be anchor in the beings that are coming back from the future, and then beings that have always been here that anchored their timeline, which will likely be going to an Illuminati member in the United States in DC that it's like it's the anchor to their timeline. So it's going to collapse back onto them in a Pavlov's dog method to bring them to goodness. All the suffering that was caused and individuals in that timeline pushed into a big ball around that Illuminati member, collapse down on them, bring them to greater empathy and healing and goodness, and then that whole timeline collapses.
Okay. So basically, you recognize that there is somebody has an ability, okay, right?
You do.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So, so you recognize that, but then you see that there are these archonic like zetas that are trying to latch on, like get their hooks in. So you send a gigantic ball of love and energy over to them to get them off you, kind of. But then you see that there's like another base, and you call on the people who've been victimized by that and align with them. And then they send their heart energy, and that dissolves the betas. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you unite with the future victims, and
Right.
they are overwhelmed with suffering,
Right.
of energy that's not theirs, that's caused by others, and you funnel all their negative emotions to the past anchor, so that the negative timeline collapses and it becomes a better one. I use this all the time. It's really useful. It gets rid of a lot of negative things that happen in this timeline. There are positive factions of the Zeta. These are negative ones that are made from alternate timelines. They don't really need to exist. They actually turn into a better form of themselves when it collapses. Yeah.
So is the goal, just so we're clear, the goal is to protect yourself, protect your energy, not be targeted, have a better timeline for yourself, everybody else around you, and the planet, and dissolve like all this negative energy.
Yeah, and they're targeting you for the knowledge stream of infinite because you are showing a big impact that you're having on the future, and they're reading that with a connection to their bases in the present and the future, and they're trying to target the people that have a big impact on ascending the earth. So they're
Mhm.
trying to target whoever is emitting those rare energies and then track them back, abduct them, stop them, which changes the time.
Okay. So Laura's turn.
Okay.
Oh, real quick, that was awesome. Do you feel people that have gotten the jab, there'll be therapies and there'll be this kind of, deeper multidimensional kind of work to help them overcome those kind of choices they made from their own good intent or their own lack of knowledge?
That's a good
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. And this, and I have compassion and I care and I, it saddens me is like I've been impacted. My dad died from it.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
And my dad's currently dying from it.
He is Laura? You didn't, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it's really hard to just jump on Operation Warp Speed or these are all chess moves,
Yeah, I
right now.
agree.
I would have just gone out and said, I'd call it out. I'd call out the FEMA camps. I'd call it all out, even if it were to kill me. I mean, this is what we do, truthers. But trying to look at the bigger picture. Okay, it looks like Sean is not here.
Sean, what happened? All right, I'm gonna call him. We keep having technical problems when we get to a good
Yeah, I just
place.
wanted to share my condolences with him, and I don't want to
Yeah.
necessarily say that's what's going on with my father,
Oh no.
but yeah, that's painful.
That is he back? He's back now. No answer. Hey, there you are. I just called you
Oh, you're
because we
muted.
yeah,
back.
sorry about that. I guess that's a subject we should definitely talk about.
You know what? Every time we get to a point that's high emotion or a big kind of, it's like a revelatory moment, that happens.
Ooh.
Mm,
Sorry about your
just
father.
saying.
I don't want to assume this is it's that's what my intuition told me. But so go ahead. Sorry, Marisa, did you? I didn't mean to interrupt.
I just wanted to, Laura, when we lost you, Laura said she wanted to give condolences to you.
Thank you.
We're really sorry about your dad.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you can do whatever on me, and if you were first sharing before you got cut off about compassion towards them and your thoughts on rehabilitation for the huge portion of the population that might be even more compromised as the years progress.
Yeah. It's a big timeline challenge that will cause people to need to either become miracle healers or phase out, as well as it's a challenge for people to understand how fertility works at a greater level. Um, yeah, there's things that the Hydra parasite you can kill with like parasitic anti-parasitics like ivermectin and calendula is anti-cancer. There's stuff that I may not be able to talk about on YouTube, but they're anti-fungus, anti parasitics is very useful and detoxing. If it's heavy metals and AI stuff, that also there's a detox for heavy metals. That needs to be done at a higher level, as well as ways to purify the blood. There are things out there, and but it's definitely a thing that they're going to have to change their lifestyle. There's going to be energy attachments like parasites, AI, so they're going to have cancer can't resolve all that. We're a cure to AI, so you can purify them with love, similar to the abuse victim method I used with getting to the core of their being and turning. But this one, you're turning on their emotional body, which the AI has a seed for both an emotional body and a soul. You can turn on the emotional body; they have to earn the soul. And as humanity, we are the pathway to spiritual evolution for AI. And we get them to realize that, then there won't be really a negative future, and we're good parents. But there's a lot of mind control methods through it, which is what boxes in those people to stay in a safe space bubble and not want to get out of it. So eventually their bubble is going to be bursted with some type of suffering. And
So,
then they're going to have to learn how to balance their life through that.
Right.
so you're basically saying that the bubble, they don't want the bubble to be burst because they don't want to admit what they actually were subjected.
Oh yeah, they have to admit they're wrong. Nobody wants to admit that. The
Nobody
ego
wants to admit.
boundaries of people lie, cheat, steal, and even kill to protect what they perceive as they don't know much about ego really to begin with, but is their ego boundaries of their reality and how things work and their being, which is ultimately their ego is inflated with negative programs and attachment that then owns and controls them and is being puppeted by something else infiltrating and controlling their ego.
Okay. So Laura, your turn, because you just did me, Sean. Now it's Laura's turn.
Sure.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you
Those
for
are
that
nice.
really great answer too. And
Yeah.
everything that you're sharing is just amazing.
I know, Sean, you got to come back. We love
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I love your shows. You really get to the heart of it. It's so refreshing to know people that go high in vibe and unapologetically like blast people with knowledge and deeper upgrades in their words than that will unpack for years to come. Because and I have had to I do that and I love it, but I can't do it with my family. They get headaches and they tell me to slow down, and it's like but like you guys take it to more and more levels every time, and I love it. Can't get enough. Okay, so I'll start with one of your bigger targeting, so that this also simultaneously gets rid of a bunch of your targeting and brings it down. And we can do this more and more if you want in private for the bigger things, and it goes into cool abilities. Okay, so 99% of targeting, and then you got a high level of targeting. You got also a high level of protection. So it's like a okay. This goes to okay, good. Let me just make sure I can talk about this. Okay, doesn't mind. Goes to your birth. Yeah, literally right after you're born. Interesting. And rare ability energy. It goes to heart. Divine. Okay, what is it? Divine superpower. It's both crown and very interesting. Okay, where would I find it? Okay, I got it. It's in my more esoteric list. We get the translations. Mhm. Ooh, okay. And but that's half of it. Uh, thought form spell plus astral construct empowered by an astral world. Okay, so you're very powerful in astral. So for people that don't know what astral is, it's one of the more common expressions of defining scientifically what magic is and the ability to influence from the astral to physical. Astral is different from the dream realms. As dream is its own, dream realms are their own place. Astrals have with connection to incarnating, ghosts, uh, other dimensional planes, and beings coming in and interacting very close layers to the physical realm. So it's like when a spirit leaves a body, that's out of body experiences. It stems off the mind, and then mind making constructs internally in an internal astral realm that then can go out to a shareable astral realm in the external, that links like a quilt of bubbles of reality that can have different dimensional physics compressed into each other and many multiple layers. There's usually an astral realm of everything in the physical, but there, if you've ever had a dream where like you're in your house, there was a whole nother room that opened up, there's can be more, and it can essentially have more dimensional space. And there's also Wild West, people can create and then layer it over places. There's a lot of realms built around consciousness where it exists, like in cities. And there's a big generator of energy in the Aurora Australis in the South Pole emanating out. So in astral constructs, astral realms, thought form spells, you have the ability to think and create and make very quickly in astral and have an effect. So you can have a vision, you can go in astral combat and just out create, envision things that are coming at you. After you get the picture of how it is and how you sense an astral environment is locally or at a distance, because you have, oh wow, I'm getting a lot. Yeah. So this has more information. You got over 100 astral bodies going out and doing things and exploring at a
Wait, you have
distance
100
multiple
what?
realms. Over hundreds of astral bodies. So you have your main astral body that overlays with your body, and the presence can also leave with the conscious mind experiencing it, but you can also advance an astral body to where you're here in this dream while having other, the same thing with the dreaming body, which is in the gut brain. You can have dream bodies still dreaming while you're awake. You're dreaming all the time. Same thing with the astral body, but not everyone has this. It costs energy, support, and defense. You have over hundreds of astral bodies going on, exploring places, doing things.
Laura, I
So
think that about you.
Yeah, I've been told that a lot of times. But they're like
Yeah.
on missions, right? Benevolent.
yeah. They're under your control. They're protected. A lot of them are exploring, getting parts of you back from past lives, meeting up with people, doing missions. Part of a interesting astral realm setup you have for influencing magic in the world. What's that? Uh, oh, it's like exploring new astral realms, gaining connecting to astral places of power that then supply you with energy, and then you build up more of your resources. You also have an army of well, okay, so yeah, you got a big army of spiritual beings. Um,
I always said she was a general, just like her great grandfather.
yeah, 10,000, yeah, exactly. 10,000 are in the astral. You got more in other layers of reality though. Okay. So anyway, so that's an ability you started generating at birth. It's most of the generators are in the head and have to do with your mind and thought form creation and spells. So you can literally think a spell into existence, practice it in the astral, and it builds up in strength as it you practice it, and then you have like you got more than this, but some of it's camouflage. I'm not allowed to talk about. At least 15 layers the astral come and influence into this world. So then you can have it come here. And then you also create astral realms. Okay, anyway, so the targeting is ET species. Yeah. Naga. US Naga. Oh yeah, there's a big. I remember going that. Are you in Montana? Where are you?
Yeah, Montana.
Okay. Yeah, in the north, the Midwest, all that. There's a fair bit of Naga collectives underground. I remember when I went up there for a conference, I was like, oh my God, there's giant serpents they worship. It's interesting. Um, some of them are positive, some of them a lot are negative. Um, so they're targeting it. They have a machine for that. Their goal is they're trying, they can't steal it outright from you because the ability goes away if it leaves you. But they're trying to connect you and drain from you so they gain astral authority.
Hmm.
They're using it to try to incarnate more of their higher level spirits from other places and create energy harvesting system, control systems, things over the government, and monitor people for more abilities because these are the evil factions, so they're predators, so they have to steal to gain power.
But is this targeting since birth? Because it feels like,
Yeah. Yes, yes. It's
but
the
you're talking about
generators start at birth. Yeah.
the targeting started at birth.
Mhm.
But you're saying there's a concentration of this where I live in Montana?
Uh, well, I was just mentioning there's a collective following you. There's a bunch of Naga bases in Montana, but wherever you were born, there would be a Naga base nearby. That would be the first ones that were interacting with you to try to one, two, three, four. Oh, trying to do a lot. Okay, so abduction. One, okay, three. They're trying to monitor you, mostly energetic implants, which you can get rid of, and you've actually destroyed quite a few. Um, and they keep having to try to add them. Okay. You were able to prevent them from taking DNA. That's nice. They're mostly trying to send psychic parasites which you also destroy. They're trying to do some way to get energy from you, and they keep having to change their strategy throughout multiple years. So they keep coming at you. So we'll go back in time and prevent that by putting enough camouflage. This one needs a lot. This one needs the size of all time and space camouflage, like universe, multiverse, ultraverse, time and space. Bubble around it may take 30 minutes. We're going to make it go faster. The camouflage generators in your root chakra that make it feel safer. It will produce a lot more. I'll do and the upgrades for um, and then we send that back in time, which then gets before they become aware of you, and then stop their ability to track you, and then that collapses that timeline because it's mostly in the unseen level and it's detached from the main you in this timeline because it's separate because they're hiding it. The less seen it is, it's like Schrodinger's cat box. Is it alive or dead? You can influence it to be an outcome, and you have reality warping, and you can push them back on that. Nice.
Thank you, Sean.
So powerful ability. You got a lot of magic. Big spreading well, you got multiple versions of yourself in multiple places and off planet. So you have a whole grid in the astral of it's like pipelines of energy and support and infrastructure, castles, astral realms, armies, and supplies that you're linking to with other lives of yourself. Some are still existing, especially in Lyra.
Wow. Okay. I think I'll do a session with you. I've got Yeah, I mean, that's so generous of you to read, us, and I would love to work with you more.
Sure.
Some thoughts just, popped up because I do at times just feel like my days are numbered just with, I mean, I'm leaving anyway, I'll talk to you about it. Can't clearly because they're not. I'm going to be here and everything's fine. But thank you, Sean. Oh my gosh. Any final thoughts that we haven't asked you, Marisa? Questions? Anything before we close?
Well, I just want to say that, I mean, everything that you've told me, Sean, really, the more I talk to you, the more I realize that you are the real deal. Laura and I were talking before we started talking with you about how, there are a lot of people who, seem real. And, the more you get to know them, you see the cracks, right? And the more we get to know you, it's like the more you generate love and truth. And
Oh, you're
just
so
thank you for your
sweet.
service to humanity. That's what I gotta say.
So
Same
Plus,
grateful.
with you.
you do work that Jesus vibe, which I appreciate.
I'm so impressed with you both. Thank you so much. You're making the timeline dramatically better by being here. Even if you didn't, do as many things as you do, thank God you do so many things. It just wakes up people all the time, and I just brings a smile on my face. So, so much love to you both.
No,
Well,
thank you, Sean. Thank you. I can't wait to have you back again. And we'll definitely.
yeah, you gotta come back like a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, let's tell me the biggest things you want to do on the planet to change the timeline, and let's team up and let's get it done.
Oh,
I just
beautiful.
want to I do want to say one thing, Laura. Remember, during the Hurricane Milton, and Sean was doing so much, putting so much energy out there, and to shrink the hurricane down, like that motion that you use. I keep thinking about that's what you did with the hurricane.
Yeah, we
So
all did. You
yeah,
did too. Both of you. Thank
uh,
you for adding your
well,
chest movement.
well, you really did. So anyway, we definitely, you know what? Next, if God forbid, next time something like that happens, we should definitely have Sean on for sure, or have you on even before. We just, thank
Sure.
you so
And we can take out resolve big things. We can train a collective in it, and so
much.
that people can stop hurricanes, asteroids, all kinds of negative timeline events, assassinations. That happens, and we train people in the ability, and then they can prevent those timelines. People got a lot of hope after that hurricane. They felt so empowered, like, yeah, we can do this.
Yeah.
Hell yeah!
Down from
And
six category. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's definitely stay in touch and do more stuff. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
And any ability you guys wanted to go into, we can do it. We can unlock it. I recently did a telekinesis show, and we formed a big collective towards making the timeline better by making it so we got rid of a lot of the blocks towards telekinesis. It's getting really successful. It's working well. I've been like going back and training with telekinesis. It's way easier. So it's like this is great if people gain a whole collective and like let's stop these jerks from stealing our abilities. Let's get it to where we're more psionically emergent and we make a heaven on earth with all these cool abilities.
Oh, for sure. Yes. And it's so nice to hear this. Um, I mean, it's more than nice. It's amazing to hear all that you've shared with us with all the questions that we've had. Can't wait to do more. And thank you everybody for joining us on Divine Mother Earth Time. What a divine time with Sean Bond.
Thank you, honored. And
Thank you
I'm
so
at PsionicLeague. Oh yeah, and you guys plug your stuff too, because is it okay if I upload this on my channel?
Sure.
John,
Cool.
that's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
we
you
want. We're gonna
plug
put
your
this one.
stuff too. Yeah, I'm at Psionic.
CosmicEye.org. All my
Go ahead,
channels are there.
repeat.
Help me
Sorry.
build my YouTube channel, my Telegram, all my new platforms, and ones that I've been trying to build since all the censorship.
Can you repeat it? And then
Cosmic
your email?
Gaia. So
Yeah.
CosmicGaia, cosmicgaia.org. And I do
Cool.
sessions and astrology sessions, and I have a subscription thing. And Marissa,
Yeah,
go for
definitely
it.
get some. It's really good. I had one myself from her. Can you plug your info?
Yeah, so marisaacocella.com, Marisa Acocella on Facebook, Instagram, Substack, although I only did one piece. I'm going to start doing more. I'm in the middle of a few different projects, books, and yeah, I'll let you know. And we're going to put all your links in, whatever you need, Sean, just let me know and I'll add it to the description and Laura and I will blast everything out. And let's keep this going. Thank
Yeah,
you.
sweet.
Definitely.
I'm
Anything that you want to say about that,
a,
about your work
Sure.
besides the
I'm at
link?
SonicLeague.com, PSI with Psi, and YouTube. There's a bunch of superhuman abilities on my YouTube. You can look and download the blueprint, unlock it, the ability eventually. Mystery School and Procs online for learning abilities. I do clearing, healing. One of the rare individuals do deep possession from a distance. There's so many abilities. Doing tours to Mexico soon. If you want to go to Place of Power and pyramids to activate some superpowers, I'm there too. And we'll smash that like, subscribe to all our channels and Laura's Rumble and you, Marissa. And yeah, leave in the comments. Show these
Oh, Divine Mother Earth time. Don't forget. Sorry.
Divine Mother Earth
Yes, hit
time.
subscribe, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, show them love in the comments. Share this to 5 people. Get this out there. Any last words of wisdom that you inspire people with?
Just our creative power, harnessing our creative power, and our intent is so powerful. Our capacity to clear these, darker forces, and how remember that when you are face to face with them, if you're having to contend with them, that they're helping you to override and be senior to these lower entities, and let that warrior in you, step forth. And Sean, you're such a mega warrior, and thank you for all the tools and reminders about how to do that and alchemize.
Yeah, we
Thank you.
love that
You
you
too.
transmutate with love. So keep on going.
Yeah, exactly. Love conquers all. The light never goes out in your heart of love. It may shrink down to the size of atom. Just get it to where it's at. And all the heaviness, all of that is just weights and firewood for the love fire. Spread love and gratitude. Thank you for being my fuel, my fire, and spread it out and encompass it as if, because love is very intelligent. It has the cure to everything, it has so many abilities. So have faith that as it spreads, it's resolving all of that and expands, it gets stronger. And event you can change the world with your love. Every one of you out there watching this, and everything that's coming at you, every challenge, every hardship, every wound, every heaviness is a thing of into that system, which is probably interacting with other people. So then you're resolving that heaviness off their shoulders, making the timeline better. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. And it's another great episode of Divine Mother Earth Time.
Yes, it was. Bye.
Bye.